Just want to make sure that it's actually officially started recording, or rather broadcasting, because it's still spinning a circle at the side. The circle stopped spinning, so that seems to tell me that I am now live inside the licensed Sanomentologists Facebook group. If you don't already know who I am, my name by birth is Alex William Smith, although I am better known as Jonathan Royle, hypnotist, mind therapist, and all-round psychological talking therapies expert. Indeed, I am the official hypnotic consultant and advisor to Martin Rothery, the founder of Sanomentology, and of course to the Future Health Therapy Centre and Global Training Academy. And I'm broadcasting this video, which then the recording will be there of, that also you will find some links above or below the video to free, completely free training manuals, training videos that will motivate you and overcome some of the issues I'm seeing that some people are having in this group and such like. Because I've looked at some of the messages recently, and it seems that some people are feeling down because of the lockdown, and I totally get that that is an issue for all of us. But I want to just give you some thoughts. I'm going to address things that some people see as negatives, as stumbling blocks, okay? Let's start with the first one. I see a lot of people going, I need to get my knowledge levels right. I need to get my experience right. That best, before I go out and talk about sanomentology or any of the elements of it, or before I start offering my services, excuse the language. Anyone who's easily offended, I'm afraid probably best to turn off now. But the fact is, that's bullshit. That's one of those negative, self-sabotaging programs that we can often run as human beings. It's the imposter syndrome jumping in, going, I'm not good enough yet. Let me tell you something, okay? And I'm not saying this to sound arrogant or egotistical. The simple fact is, I am one of the most successful hypnotherapists and mind therapy trainers and consultants in the world, with a career spanning well over 30 years now, and with tens, well, if not hundreds of thousands of students worldwide, including famous name celebrities and such like. The links above or below give the evidence of that, so I'm not going to waste time going through it all. My point isn't to brag. My point is that there's nothing special about me. There's only one key thing that I did that led to my success, and there's nothing stopping you doing that too. And that key thing is, excuse the language, but is I got off my bloody arse and did something. Now, I did that even when I was inwardly scared or nervous. I did it when I was not very experienced. I did it when I'd only just learned. As you will see me fully explain and give evidence of in the free videos you can get at the links above or below this, hopefully motivational message, I, at the age of 14, did a mail order correspondence course consisting only of 67 sheets of A4 paper and 3 one-hour audio cassette tapes. I read the manual, I listened to the audio cassette tapes, and then I completed the exam that came with it, which actually meant I could look at the manual and listen to the cassette tapes before sending it back, but hey-oh, that's by the by. I passed the exam and I got my piece of paper to put on the wall. If you don't understand the true importance of that piece of paper, it's not to say that you have a special skill or anything. It's to make you feel like you've got a special skill, and more importantly, to make your clients think you've got a special skill. Watch The Wizard of Oz, and at the end of it, when the wizard behind the curtain is revealed, the one that wants the brain is given a certificate and told that he's clever, and then believes it, and it changes that person's belief system and their perception. And not only that, it gave that character more confidence then, so they would act differently, and because of those actions being different, it would transmit a confidence out into the world that will be picked up by people that they encountered. And these are very important lessons for each and every one of you as sanomentologists, that you need to basically just act as if you have already previously treated hundreds or thousands. Depending on your age, it might be more realistic to say hundreds. If you're old enough to look like you've done thousands of people, then you've got to act as if you've done this before. Nothing will ever faze you. Okay, it might do inwardly. You might be going, oh dear, I slipped up, I said the wrong word from the script, I read it wrong, or I haven't got the reaction I wanted. Guess what? The unexpected will always occur sooner or later. But the only way that will ever be a negative thing is if you react in a shocked, surprised, or flustered manner, because then that will be transmitted to the client. If you, as the expert, the perceived authority figure, okay, the person with the certificate on the wall saying that you've got this, you've had this training and you've got this expertise, if you react to whatever occurs, although it's completely normal, happens all the time, hasn't fazed you whatsoever, you've encountered this before, which obviously you would have done if you've done thousands of sessions, you're bound to have encountered these things before, then as long as you react in a manner like, that's perfectly fine. If somebody had what they call an abreaction, where they start crying or something, get emotional during the session, you can just go off script slightly and say, it's okay, just let those particular images right now fade away, or similar reassurances that's relevant to whatever's going on there. I won't dwell on that too much. It's covered more in the free videos above and below this video. But my point is, if you act as if whatever happens is completely normal, then the client will rationalise it and come to one conclusion only, that because you reacted in a calm, relaxed, professional seeming, I've seen this before numerous times kind of manner, they come to the conclusion that that is what's meant to happen. So even if it wasn't what you wanted to happen, thought might happen, expected to happen, or hoped would happen, it doesn't matter. To the client, you give the perception that you're not fazed, this is completely normal, you've seen it all before, and therefore the client will perceive it, that whatever happens is completely normal and is what was meant to happen. And the moment they believe whatever they experience, think, or feel during the session is what was meant to happen, is the moment they will arguably convince themselves totally inside like that, it's a split-second thought process, that something truly beneficial has occurred for them. That is the moment when change actually takes place. Now, not to take away anything from any of the wonderful protocols that Martin's written, the scripts, the great structures and frameworks, but at the end of the day, and he may disagree with me, and he's fine, he's allowed to, we agree to disagree on something, but the truth of the matter is, the script isn't why the client changes. The script is a focal point. If you don't want to call it a script, the structure of the protocol or the session is not why they actually change. That is the focal point that concentrates the conscious mind onto the idea that something seemingly important, a ritual process, is taking place, and that because it's coming from a perceived authority figure, the expert person, you with the diploma on the wall, the bookshelf with the books on in the background and all that kind of stuff, and they've already seen your website or advertising with social proof saying that you've helped other people. They're in this state of mind that they believe what you're going to do is for a reason and a purpose, and they expect it to work for them, and especially as you're charging a sizable fee, that gives it a perceived value, so they buy into the importance of it working. What we're really doing is giving them permission to change and an environment to change where they feel safe because they've got the perceived authority figure expert, us there, which is where my advice to you is to concentrate more on learning about marketing, advertising, publicity and promotion. You can learn all the techniques, protocols, scripts in the world that you want, but the thing is none of them will be any use without clients, and the clients are more likely to get successful outcomes consistently and rapidly when you've used your marketing, advertising, publicity and promotion effectively to get them into the right state of mind, so by the time they contact you to book a session, they've already decided you are the person that will not might, will help them to change their life for the better. Then after that, they come along to you either in person or virtually online via Zoom, but they know that when they interact with you, that this has been framed as being a safe, professional, life-changing situation and environment. So in that moment, their psychological state will be the most effectively heightened it can be for change to take place rapidly, consistently, and long-lastingly. And it doesn't really matter what important seeming ritualistic process you then use. It really doesn't. It doesn't matter if you're using an inner lucid dream, if you're using steps, or it doesn't matter. Really, I know there's certain things that Martin says they're better used for, but it actually doesn't matter as long as you transmit the belief and that confidence to the client that this is the way you always deal with that kind of problem that they've got, and it always works. If they pick up on your confidence that you're transmitting to them, then they come to one logical conclusion that whatever important seeming ritualistic process you take them through, the reason you're doing that is because it's worked consistently in the past for other people that you've dealt with, so it will work for them. And they have to believe that if they've paid a large fee, otherwise they've got to say to themselves that they're an idiot and have paid money for something that doesn't work. People don't want to do that. And they've already seen social proof. So your marketing, your advertising, your publicity, promotion is more important than what you actually do in the session. I'll repeat that again. Your marketing, advertising, publicity and promotion that put you onto the map are more important than anything you actually do during the actual treatment session. Whatever script, protocol or approach used during the session is arguably just an important seeming ritualistic process to make it look like you had to do something to help the client. So it gives them an excuse to change and permission to change. It gives them something to go through so they can rationalise to themselves. And I'm explaining here unconscious, subconscious thought processes they will not even be consciously aware of that happen in a split second, okay? Some of it may happen consciously as well, which is great as well, but mainly unconscious, subconscious level thought processes that happen in a split second. We create the right environment so that whatever particular issue they've got is semi-irrelevant really. What is important is this. I'll tell you a little story, but I'm only going to tell you one story on this because there's a couple of other things I want to cover, and then I'm going to encourage you to go to the links above or below this video to get the free training videos and the free manuals, which will help give you insights on how to use marketing, advertising, publicity and promotion to put yourself on the map in the right manner, not just so you get more clients, not just so you can charge more money, but more importantly for the client, so that when they decide to contact you, they've decided to book with you practically in advance, and so that therefore they're in the right state of mind, so they believe you are the person that will give them the change they need. Now, the truth is, we never do anything, honestly. And it's fine. Martin can disagree with me a lot to some extent. I know he agrees to me to a degree, but then he has other thoughts. But I genuinely believe that we genuinely do nothing except provide a safe environment for the client, an environment where they're given permission to change, an excuse to change, and the moment where they can make the changes for themselves that they always could do. Because it's scientifically proven that there's nothing that's done with hypnosis or any other subconscious, unconscious communication technique, whatever you may wish to call it, whether that's steps, sanomentology, inner lucid dreaming, Tibetan mind control, I don't care what you call it, there's nothing that can be achieved through using those processes or protocols or techniques that cannot be achieved by a normal human being entirely by themselves on their own, without the help of a therapist. But here's the thing, it's a damn sight easier for the client to achieve things and make them happen with our help for a key reason. Let me tell you a story. It sounds like an imaginary story to start with, but actually it's truly what I believe is our role as a therapist in this context of this group, the Sanomentologists. Now, imagine that Dave wakes up one morning. Dave, who has been taking cocaine for many years. And over the past few weeks, he started thinking to himself that, you know, he's having to take more and more of it to get the high he used to get off a small amount. And he's started to question himself, as often addicts do. He's got to a point, a pivotal point, where he thinks, I either have to take more to get the feeling I used to have, or I knock this on the head and move forward and find another more normal, less expensive, less potentially unhealthy way in life to feel great and on top of the world. And so he literally decides, I'm not going to buy any more cocaine today. That's it. And it is feasibly possible to do that. Okay? I know, because I did it once in life, as I explain on the videos that you can get free above or below this video from the link. It definitely can be done, and I know the people who've done it. But here's the problem. The most people that do try to do that, and the trouble is if they say to themselves they're going to try and do it, they're giving themselves a negative suggestion anyway, because the word try implies the possibility of failure, as is explained by Emile Coué's law of reversed effort. You can learn more about that in the videos above or below. But here's the thing. Most people end up relapsing. And this is why, okay? So there's scenario. Dave wakes up, he decides, I'm not going to touch cocaine anymore. He doesn't buy any that day, and things are fine. And he starts to feel better about himself. He starts to have more of a feeling of self-esteem and self-worth because, hey, I've achieved something. I don't need that. Actually, I don't feel too much worse than I did yesterday. And the next day, he feels better because it's another day and it's compounded positively that he doesn't need it. And then he bumps into some friends, look. He bumps into some people he knew from years ago and knew he'd ended up getting addicted to cocaine and wasting too much money on it and it having knock-on effects and all this, that, the other. And they see him, and this is several days down the line of him not having touched it, and they see him and they go, Dave, you're looking remarkably well. Have you knocked that junk on the head? And Dave proudly says, yeah, I have. You know, about a week ago, I woke up and decided enough's enough, and I've not touched it since. And he's feeling good about himself at the moment, Dave. But then, this is what normally happens in everyday life. His friends go, you what? You just woke up and decided you weren't going to touch it anymore. And Dave goes, yeah, because he's feeling proud about this point. But his friends say, hang on, Dave, if it was that simple to stop taking it, to knock it on the head, and to stop wasting money and potentially damaging your life, why the effing hell didn't you do it sooner, you knobhead? And Dave doesn't have an answer for this. Because there isn't one, logically, is there? You can go, well, I was enjoying it. You can't say I enjoyed take it. So he ends up feeling bad, and it knocks his self-esteem, his self-confidence, his self-image, his self-control, aka willpower. It makes him feel a bit stupid and daft. But he doesn't want to keep feeling stupid and daft. So, and that's probably one of the reasons why in life he took drugs as an escape anyway, to avoid feelings of feeling stupid and daft, or to avoid inner feelings of self-blame, shame, guilt and regret about past things in life, or because they didn't feel fully loved, wanted, needed, appreciated, cared for, cherished or valued on some levels. So they wanted to fill some kind of gap inside. But he started to feel good about himself when he was thinking each day, you know, I did knock it on the head. But then when his friends go, why didn't you do it sooner, you idiot? He feels daft and stupid. And those feelings of self-blame, shame, guilt and regret could come flooding back and all the negative things. And ultimately, more often than not, the person ends up relapsing because then when they bump into those friends again, they can go, oh, yeah, I'm back on it. But that's kind of proving that it wasn't that simple. So therefore, it's kind of proving to their friends that the friends were wrong, calling him an idiot for not having done it sooner type thing, because it actually didn't work. It undoes the work. I hope that makes sense in this short period of time that I'm covering it. I do cover it more in the free videos above or below this video. And it's a very important point. Whereas, if Dave gets up one day and thinks to himself, as every client ultimately at some point has to, when they get off their own arse, and never take on a client that someone else is trying to book the session for, because If the client truly wants change, they've got to be committed enough to contact you themselves. They've got to have the interaction with you. Otherwise, the chances are it won't work in the long term. It might seem to have worked, but then it'll come undone for reasons of the fact that they weren't committed to it enough in the first place to contact you. You know, they shouldn't be doing it for a wife, husband, or family member or friend. It's for them. So, with that in mind, Dave wakes up and eventually he's got to the point, unconsciously, but also it might be seeping into his conscious mind now, ideas that maybe, you know, it's time to quit and stop the cocaine. But something somewhere in his head, a split-second thought, probably unconsciously, subconscious level, says, don't do it. Don't do it, Dave. And this isn't the voice of addiction, actually, ironically, because the voice of addiction would probably be going, hey, Dave, actually, we love that cocaine. We love that cocaine. Makes us feel good, yeah? Fires off the receptors. Feels good. Just start taking more of it if you need to feel that way. No, a voice that starts to niggle in the unconscious, subconscious, the conflict, internal conflict, is the voice of reason that goes, Dave, we don't really need that stuff anymore, you know? Those things that used to bother you, worry you, concern you in life, we move forward from them. And deep down, you can actually handle those now, but you just don't realise that because you're not in a clear enough state of mind yet to have the experience of being able to handle them in life, to then be able to self-affirm to yourself positively that you have got over those things and moved on. So, you know, why don't you just all knock it all on the head? But then another little part of the brain kicks in, a clever bit, probably in the unconscious, subconscious level, and goes, if we do that, law, won't people go, you idiot, why didn't you do it sooner, you idiot? And that creates that inner conflict of, but I'll get criticised for not having done this sooner. So actually it becomes a negative thing, the idea of just stopping it, because they could get attacked for not having done it sooner if it was that easy to do. It is that easy to do, but unfortunately it becomes psychologically not that easy to do for those kind of reasons, which I'll cover more fully in the videos above or below. If, however, Dave goes searching and comes across your website, my website, Martin's, whoever's website, okay, and may look at several different people's websites, but ends up seeing a website where there are videos from men and women of different ages. So there's somebody that they personally resonate with. There's somebody of their sex, gender, age group, race. So you've got a mixture of people of different races, colours, creeds, nationalities, male, female, and ages. Video testimonials on your website, for example. And we cover kind of how to get these in the free videos that are above or below the video. Don't worry, there's a legal, ethical, moral way of getting these even before you've got people who are prepared to give you video testimonials. And I explain that in the free videos above or below. So they've seen them and they think, well, that person's kind of like me, and this person on video, a real person, so it's not some written testimonial that could have been made up. They can see the person saying, I had this issue, I don't have it anymore. Wow, this therapist is amazing and has helped me to change my life, type of thing. So their state of mind then is, oh, this could work for me. Now, they will then look at the price as well. Yeah, I know. But let me tell you, being the most expensive therapist in your area is not a negative. Yes, it will lose you some clients, but you know the clients it will lose you? It's not just a case of ones who can't afford it, because that's bullshit. Everyone can afford it. They will save up if they value what it would mean to them in their life enough. They will pawn jewellery, sell something. So expense isn't the issue, right? You're going to lose some. You're not losing people who can't afford it. You'll be losing people who actually aren't ready for change. And those people are the people who would relapse and are the people who would end up making you feel negative about yourself because you think you did something wrong. Well, no, you didn't. The only thing you did wrong was to take on a client who actually wasn't 1,000,000% truly ready for change. Because in truth, all we're doing is offering them an environment for change, permission to change, an excuse to change, an important seeming ritualistic process, doesn't matter what it is, in a lucid dreaming, steps, doesn't matter, an important seeming ritualistic process. It's just it's like voodoo. You know, it's the voodoo doll, it's the voodoo, hoodoo, witch doctor jumping around making chants. If the person believes enough that that's going to put a curse on them, then they will die, and there's proof that this has happened. If they believe enough that it will cure them, it has cured people. It's the placebo effect. It's the key to all psychological talking therapies and all mind-body healing. It's also the biggest key to all conventional medicine as well. And I go into this in depth with proof, evidence, scientific facts galore in a set of videos you can get for free from the link above or below, where it says Rebel Hypnotherapist Reveals Shocking Secrets. Go to the link that's above or below, and then you'll find links to free books, free videos, but one of them's the Rebel Hypnotherapist. In that, I teach you all about the placebo effect. It's the most important thing you need to understand. Because once you truly know that the important seeming ritualistic process in the middle is just that, an important seeming ritualistic process, and frankly, it doesn't matter what you were doing in that section, then once you understand the reason it works is because the client believes in you, or at least they should do and will do. You should only be taking on clients that believe in you, which is why when you charge more, they have to be in a state of mind of, wow, that's kind of expensive, but this must mean that this person is good. That's another reason why when they want to book a session, you can't fit them in today or tomorrow. You're fully booked next week, the week after. In fact, you're fully booked for the next couple of months. But fortunately for them, you do have a cancellation in 2 weeks' time on Wednesday afternoon at such a time. If they truly are ready for change and truly want to change, bullshit to their excuses of, I'm at work at that time. No, they'll throw a sickie or take the afternoon off work. You always tell the client when you can fit them in, because you're that successful, you're fully booked for weeks in advance. Because if you're any good, you would be. And they don't know whether you are or you're not. So you tell them you can fit, they've either got to wait and book in like 6 weeks' time, because you're fully booked up till then, in which case they can choose a time. But if they want to get on with their life in a more positive fashion more rapidly sooner, then take this fortunate cancellation that's coming in a couple of weeks' time. It's always in a couple of weeks' time. I explain more detail on this in the free stuff above and below, but it's because you're heightening their psychological expectation and belief in you as being successful. Because if you were good at what you do and you're able to get them results, it means you've got other people results, which they believe to be the case because they've seen the testimonial video, social proof on your website. So you would be busy. And that further makes it more likely that they will save up, get the money together and make that commitment to pay a good, decent fee. Then your job's easy when they're paying a good, decent fee. Seriously. Because what you're doing is just giving them permission to change, an excuse to change, an environment to change. And you're giving them a scenario where they come into your consulting room, or during these COVID times, online via Zoom. And let me just address that one. If you go to my website, magicalguru.com, magicalguru.com, and click on the hypnotherapy page, you'll see one of the first 3 videos on that page is explaining about online hypnotherapy and mind therapy treatment sessions. And if you take a look at it, you'll see that when you explain things in the right manner, like that video does, example you can see on my therapy page on magicalguru.com, that it convinces and instills a complete belief, expectancy and total faith in the client that having a video session over Skype, Zoom or another video platform will be just as effective as if they were in the room with you physically in person. And that's the expectation you've got to put into their head. And the truth is, as long as they believe it will be just as effective, then it will. Because all we're doing is manipulating people's beliefs and expectations with an important seeming ritualistic process. And when you realise that, and realise it's all placebo, the free videos will help you more. That will give you more inner confidence to be able to project that confidence and intent of the important seeming ritualistic process working for the client. And then that will allow them to continue the state of mind they should already be in before they walk through your office door or before they come onto the Zoom session, because they should already be in the right state of mind that whatever you do will work, because they've seen your website, your advertising. They've seen the videos of social proof of other people saying that it works wonderfully. They've seen that you've got these fancy certificates, and they've seen fancy logos on your website that impress them, that you've learned something that can work for them. They've seen that you're expensive more so than other people, and that therefore you must be bloody good. And they've then had to book a session that they've fitted in because they're lucky to get a cancellation in a few weeks' time, or they've had to wait 4, 5, 6 weeks to actually get to see you because you're so successful, and they've had to pay 100% of the money for the session up front, non-refundable, fully committed, total commitment to the process. That is what makes it work and triggers the placebo. The important seeming ritualistic process just heightens the placebo ritual and gives them an environment, whether that's virtually over Zoom or physically in your room, doesn't matter. Metaphorically, they enter your consulting room via Zoom, or they genuinely do, but let's say it's metaphorically in current times. They'll be in the right state of mind because things like the video that's on my therapy page, magicalguru.com, on the therapy page, explains that it will be just as effective. And they then believe you, the perceived expert. And they also see the videos on your website where people say, I had a session with, Jonathan Royle over Zoom, and I didn't know if it'd work or not, as well as being there in person. But you know what? Worked perfectly. It puts them in the right state of mind to then be able to leave behind, metaphorically, either physically, well, either they've come to your office really, or they're virtually online, but what they're metaphorically going to do is leave behind all self-blame, shame, guilt and regret for not having got off their arse earlier and sorted their own life out, and also leave behind, metaphorically, any potential self-blame, shame, guilt and regret they could have felt in the future if they did do it for themselves, but then encountered that relapse situation that we mentioned about Dave, yeah? Okay? That would knock them back because they'd feel bad. Because every human being, the only reason human beings have got problems is because either they don't feel fully loved, wanted, needed, appreciated, cared for, cherished or valued. It's one or more of them. It can be a mix. This is what I call Royle's hierarchy of human needs. Now, if there's an imbalance in one or more of them, it will have a knock-on effect on their self-confidence, their self-image, their self-esteem, or their self-control, which is aka willpower. Any knock-on on one or more of them will have a knock-on effect on their self-worth, their self-love, their self-respect, and their selfishness. Now, selfishness here I mean positively, because you have to be positively selfish to later able to be positively selfless. The example being on an aeroplane with the oxygen masks. They tell you if there's a problem, don't put your children's masks on first, put yours on first, which may seem selfish, but it means you won't pass out, and therefore you'll be able to then get the masks onto all of your children safely as well. Whereas if you try to put on the kids' mask, which seems selfless, first you could pass out and then not be able to help some of your other children. So sometimes you're going to be selfish to be selfless. So if there's a knock-on effect on any of them, then the person's ego, identity, themselves, they will feel there is a gap somewhere. Sadly, some people turn to alcohol, some to drugs, some to doing excessive risky sports, some to sex addiction, some to overeating, some to smoking, some to religions or cults to fill a gap. You hear the phrase that it was to fulfill a need. Well, our job as therapists is to allow them to let go of all the negatives that may be keeping them in that situation and allow them to feel, and feelings are purely imaginary. They don't have to have any basis in reality. Somebody can feel loved and yet not really have any friends. The single loner can feel that they're a loved, valued individual in life. And yet, to most of us, we go, well, he doesn't really have any evidence of that. Don't matter. A feeling has no basis in fact. Just as somebody can have a massive family and network of people who consider themselves friends, who think the world of them, but that person can feel alone and not loved. So feelings are just an illusion, and it's our job to create the illusion or help steer the illusion in a positive fashion for the client. Okay, hope that makes sense. Now, with that in mind, if we can help them feel loved, wanted, needed, appreciated, cared for, cherished and valued. And if you get a dictionary and a thesaurus and check out those 7 things, loved, wanted, needed, appreciated, cared for, cherished and valued, they're all very different. They sound similar, but they're all very different. Some apply to self-esteem, some to self-confidence, some to self-image, some to self-control, aka willpower. So if there's an imbalance in any of them, it will have a knock-on effect on the person's self-confidence, self-image, self-esteem and self-control, aka willpower. And if there's any imbalance in any one or more of them, then it will have a knock-on effect on their self-respect, their self-love, their the things I said before. Watch the video back. Pointless wasting time. Or you can watch the other videos as well where I expand on it. The point being that we need to make them feel that way. And the way we make them feel that way is that we take at least half an hour, but probably an hour, sometimes a little bit longer, of one-to-one time with them, either in person or over Zoom. And we make them the total focal point, centre of attention, because whatever important seeming ritualistic process, whatever it may be, we are saying things and they're doing or allowing them to happen. I was going to say they're thinking them, but we're allowing them to happen at an unconscious, subconscious level. And you know what? It doesn't matter if they see things in glorious, technical or not. That's another thing I want to put people's minds at rest. People going, I don't know if they're using their imagination right. Sorry, it doesn't matter. It's supposed to be unconscious, but it doesn't matter. You just use a simple phrase at the beginning of the session, like, okay, later on I'm going to be saying, like, let your mind wander free, let things come into your mind. You may not even be consciously aware of anything happening. Some people see it in glorious technicolor, others don't, and that's perfectly fine. Every human being is different. You're a special individual person. It'll be unique to you. You may not even consciously have any kind of experience where you're aware of it at the time. It may happen outside of your conscious experience. In fact, it's even better when it does. In other words, we set up a frame and a structure where it doesn't matter what they experience, because it's almost as if. And I explain more about that in the free videos above and below that phrase. It's almost as if. If you chuck that in when you explain it, it's almost as if, then it doesn't matter what they experience, they'll come to the conclusion it's almost as if it was like what they thought it might be, so therefore it's correct. And as long as you always, when you know at the end, you say to them, so what did you experience, kind of thing. Or they start telling you stuff. I felt it like this, or I didn't feel that. Was that right? Was that wrong? You know what? It's always right. Whatever they say, as long as you go, excellent, brilliant. You know what that tells me? That tells me from experience that this has worked for you and will continue to work more powerfully and positively every second of every minute, hour, day, week and month and year from this moment forward. Excellent. And as long as you react in that manner, that's giving them a massive suggestion that it's worked and reassurance. Because ultimately, all this is about, when you set the environment correctly, is giving them that environment where they have permission to change, an excuse to change, and can leave behind that self-blame, shame, guilt, and regret. What do I mean by that? Well, in context of Dave, imagine he's been to a therapist, okay? So he goes out of the office or he leaves the Zoom session afterwards, and ultimately all that's really happened is he decided enough's enough and he's changed like that. But he didn't change like that till he'd gone through the important seeming ritualistic process with us, because he had that protection barrier of, if it looks like it was too easy, you'll end up feeling bad because people will attack you going on. So now Lloyd's got a kind of invisible safety shield. And that safety shield is one where when he bumps into his friends eventually and they go, Dave, you're looking better. Have you got over that junk? And he can go proudly, yes, I have. And the friends will go, how did you do that? Now, this is where more than likely you'll go, well, it's I went to see a therapist. And this therapist was recommended to me, or this therapist I saw, they've helped loads of other people, and it was dead expensive, I had to save up. And he's building up his protection here, because these are all good reasons why he hadn't done it sooner. So the friends can't turn around. Well, they can turn around and say, why didn't you do it sooner then? But he's got a protection here where he doesn't have to feel bad. Well, it was dead expensive, I had to save up, but it's been worth every penny, because now I've kicked the cocaine on the head and I've saved the money. I didn't know about the existence of this therapist until recently. There's so many safety guards that means they don't end up feeling bad about actually having made the change. So therefore they can feel good, and they end up, then the friends will ultimately end up going, oh, right, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Well done then. Thus, helping them to feel loved, wanted, needed, appreciated, cared for, cherished and valued, building up the self-confidence, self-esteem, self-image, self-control, thus in turn building up their self-worth, their self-love, their self-respect, and their positive selfishness to then feel they don't have that gap anymore. They're a worthy person. They always bloody were, because we're all technically, basically born equal. I don't mean in financial terms, I mean in terms of, unless we have a brain damage, a genetic issue type thing, we're all born with the same potential abilities to do this stuff, and for the placebo trigger to work effectively, which is the key. So with that in mind, I hope you realise that it doesn't matter if you've only done one, if you've never done a session before. The only thing that matters about that is you never tell the client it's your first session. As I explain more in the videos you get free above or below, I took a correspondence course when I was 14, and basically all this consisted of was giving me a 7-point plan that was get rapport with the client, induce the hypnotic trance, deepen that trance, do some ego strengthening therapy, do the therapy relevant to their problem, stop smoking, lose weight, gain confidence, overcome a phobia, whatever. Implant a major post-hypnotic suggestion and wake them up. And there were scripts provided for all this. And ultimately, the idea was that you got rapport, then you read the script for the induction, you read the script to deepen the trance, you read the script for ego strengthening, you read a script that was relevant to the therapy that was going to be done. And with Sanomentology, there is ultimately scripts at that point that is an important seeming ritualistic process that's done content free, so they can fill in the blanks often. So anyway, then there's the post-hypnotic that when they wake up, it's going to carry on working for them better and better and awaken them from it, feeling better than they did before. Effectively as simple as that is what it was. And I did this, but I realised one key problem. I felt when I started out, and some people starting out may find this, I thought, well, I can't be seen to be reading scripts. And on lots of therapy groups, people go on about scriptnosis or script therapy, it's bad. Well, the reason it's bad a lot of the time is because the scripts are crap. The vast majority of scripts out there are rubbish. You're incredibly lucky that the scripts that Martin's put together for Sanomentology are really good. Just as I believe my scripts for Complete Mind Therapy are, which you'll hear me talk about above or below this video. Many of you have already got them anyway if you're in my Elite Hypnosis Bootcamp. The point is, the vast majority of scripts are crap, and that is why, and they sound crap to the client, and they're not a very good, important, seeming ritualistic process for the client to buy into and and overcome any critical faculty of the brain can often question things and go, will that really help me? And if it's a crap script and it doesn't seem like anything important on a massive level, then the brain might go, I can't see why this would work. And if the critical faculty rejects it, then it isn't going to get to the personal laptop computer, the unconscious, subconscious mind. Whereas if it seems really important, which fortunately the stuff Martin's put together does, as does my Complete Mind Therapy script and other stuff, then if the critical faculty creeps in our analytical area and looks at it and goes, wow, this is crazy way out stuff, there's only one logical conclusion to why we're doing this crazy way out stuff, and that's because it must have proven itself to work many times to the authority figure, the expert, the therapist that I paid a sizable amount to, and I've already seen social proof that this has worked for other people. So you know what? Stop questioning it, just let it happen. At which point it does happen on an unconscious, subconscious, deep level to reprogram that personal laptop computer. So when you have true faith in that is all part of the placebo trigger process, then actually it will help you be more confident, even if it's your very first session with a real client, because they don't know. And they'll think you've already had numerous clients thanks to the video testimonials on your website and your advertising, which I tell you how to legally, ethically and morally get in the free videos above or below this video, where it's got 20 hours of free training videos. Because marketing, advertising, publicity and promotion, putting them in the right frame of mind is the key. They should already be in the frame of mind that change will happen before they even join you for that Zoom online session or come to your consulting room office. And your first session is never your first session. Your second session is never your second session. You never say how many you've done previously, but everything non-verbally gives the impression that you've done this initially when you start out dozens of times before, and then down the line when you've got more social proof, you've done it hundreds of times before. Because that will instill more confidence in the client. What they believe and perceive, they can and will achieve, as long as they've invested time and money and commitment into the process, as I explain even more at the free videos above or below. It will help trigger off the placebo effect, explain more in the free videos above or below. Once you truly understand that it's all about the placebo effect and that environment where you're then giving them that invisible shield where they can go off and do what they always could have done for themselves, but a way where there's no self-blame, shame, guilt or regret for them to carry around anymore, and none can be added to them by friends or family who knew them before because of the reasons I've explained, then you will have more confidence and faith in this working for you, because it's not you that makes it work. Well, it is. The client comes to believe that you're this expert that's got an ability that enables you to help them to help themselves. But ultimately, a trained chimpanzee who could actually read the script out loud would be able to help that client get the same end result that any of you can. And I'm not saying that to insult you. I'm saying it so that you don't have a lack of confidence in yourself, because if a trained bloody chimpanzee who could speak can do it, then sure as bloody hell you can. Just as I did as a 14-year-old who took that correspondence course. I looked young, I looked ridiculous. All right, I lied about my age, said I was 18. But nonetheless, I looked really ridiculously young in my first ever therapy session. I lied blatantly, told the local newspapers that I'd done quite a few test sessions during my training. I hadn't. And so my first session was my first session, but that client thought I'd already dealt with dozens of people during my training. And it worked. And then after that, it increased my confidence. The way you get most confidence in helping people with this is by doing it. That's the key. There is no training on the planet. Well, there is, but I'm not going to give you a big advert for my Elite Hypnosis Bootcamp. There is no training on the planet other than my Elite Hypnosis Bootcamp that will truly help you and focus on building up your confidence as a therapist and turning you into a therapist. There is wonderful trainings out there about different strategies and techniques, but you don't really need any of them because you've got it all from Martin. And many of you are already in my bootcamp anyway. So you've got my complete mind therapy and complete unconscious reprogramming of emotional disease and distress cured to help give your clients the cure, or hope, hypnotic override, pain elimination, or melt mind emotion liberation techniques to help your client melt the problems away. There's a whole bunch of them that I teach modalities, but you've got tons of them anyway from Martin. Modalities are all well and good for certain situations, but what's most important is you, the confidence and inner. You might be shaking like a shivering snowman inside, but externally you just breathe deeply and regularly, you remain calm, and whatever happens you act as though you've seen it 1,000 times before. And then the client will come to one logical, rationalized conclusion that whatever happens was meant to happen that way because you've reacted as though it's perfectly normal. And when they believe that, perceive that, and expect that to be the case, and it is their reality, and therefore then to them, boom, those changes can take place. So you've got to believe in yourself more, you've got to get out there, you've got to do it. Doing sessions online is just as effective as in person, just so long as you use your marketing, advertising, publicity and promotion to convince the client of such. Believe in yourself, because a trained chimpanzee can do this, so there's not much to have to believe in, except that the placebo is not a negative thing. It's the most powerful mind-body healing tool on the planet that's largely misunderstood by a lot of people, but you can understand it fully with the free videos above or below this video. If you go to get those free videos, be sure to check your email, junk and spam folders, because some email clients send the download link email there. You will get them completely free, but you've got to make sure that you find the link. It might go to your junk or spam folders. I hope you find them beneficial. If you've got any questions, ask them below this video in the Licensed Sanomentology group, and I will happily endeavour to answer them as best I can. But don't be surprised if the answers to your questions are contained within the free videos to which the links are above or below this video. Please don't be offended if I just go and download the free videos and watch them. If it's a question that's not covered in those free videos, then I will answer it here by typing an answer in my capacity voluntarily as the official hypnotic advisor to the Sanomentology Group, Future Health, Therapy Centre, Martin Rovery and Global Training Academy. I've just seen comments coming up, people going, they've reached out for help, they haven't got it, they're feeling a bit shaky, what do they do? Well, when you realise it's all placebo, when you realise, watch this video again if you're watching it from part way through, watch it from the beginning, and then go and get the free stuff that's above and below, watch them, and yeah, you may then feel motivated to join my Elite Hypnosis Bootcamp. I get that, you may do. The benefit to you, though, isn't for new modalities, although you would legally be able to get certifications in the things I've mentioned, and you would be able to get the fancy logos for Cured, Complete Unconscious Reprogramming of Emotional Disease and Distress, Mind Emotion Liberation Techniques, MELT, and a whole bunch of other modalities, and you would be able to use them in your advertising, and thus, because of Cured, you're not allowed to use the word cure or cured in your advertising normally, because Advertising Standards Authority in England and trading standards and don't allow it, and in other places of the world there's certain laws and online laws as well. But if you were displaying a certificate, a qualification showing that you've become a practitioner of complete unconscious reprogramming of emotional disease and distress, cured, and therefore are qualified in being able to give your clients complete unconscious reprogramming of energies and emotions, the cure to their issues, you'll be able to ethically, legally and morally get the words cure and cured into your advertising materials and website, so that when people are searching using those key terms, which they do regularly, you'll be likely to get more clients. So there is a massive benefit to joining my bootcamp there. But the biggest benefit really is for you Sanomentologists, because you've got all the protocols you need from Martin, and he's coming up with more all the time. But what is in the bootcamp that you won't find anywhere else is the world's largest online resource of marketing, advertising, publicity and promotion, training videos, training audios, ready-made websites even, that come along with ready-made self-help products with legal resale rights on over 100 of them, so you can start creating streams, passive streams of income where you're earning money selling these products 24 hours a day, even when you're asleep at night. We also give you like over 100 smoking cessation promotional videos, and about certainly over 50 weight management promotional videos, that you can take the videos using the information given in the marketing training in the bootcamp, put them on your YouTube channels, on your social media channels, and it will, because they're professionally made, but they don't have any therapist name on, but we explain how you can put your name and contact details on the end, will attract clients to you. And to get these hundreds of professional promotional videos made would normally cost you hundreds, if not thousands of pounds, but they're all in the bootcamp. In the bootcamp are ready-made business plans, ready-made sales letters for you to get clients, ready-made adverts you can use. It's a business in a box. There's everything you need to know about internet marketing. It teaches you how to design your own websites, how to use blogs, how to use social media effectively. There's nothing else you would ever need, all in the bootcamp, which normally, if you bought everything individually, would cost you over £10,000 United Kingdom sterling to buy everything that's in the bootcamp individually. But as the bootcamp, a lifetime membership is $5,000, well, $4,997, but till midnight, well, tell everyone else till midnight on Valentine's Day, the offer's on, but for this group only, until midnight on Sunday the 28th of February, the final day of this month, 2021, licensed Sanomentologists can get into the bootcamp for a single one-time only payment. Yes, it's been cheaper in the past, but people who didn't take up the offer then, I'm sorry, It's simple as this. The one-time only payment is 497 United States dollars, which is equivalent to roughly 397 pounds United Kingdom sterling. But considering that I will give you the tools and teach you in the bootcamp how to realistically be getting clients to pay you the bare minimum £250 United Kingdom sterling per session, about $400 per session, bare minimum, but more likely to be able to get more like £400 or £500 for a session. I'll teach you this, but I'll also teach you how to be able to get clients who can't afford that to commit seriously enough so it will work for them, but so you can do group, online or in-person therapy sessions and maybe only be charging people £50 sterling or $77 a head, but you can have 100 people on a Zoom call and think about it. You can be earning thousands of pounds, euros or dollars for a single online or in-person group therapy session. And I teach you how to do that in the free videos above and below this video. But the marketing materials, the tools to build your business, everything you ever need for success, it's in the Elite Hypnosis Bootcamp. Believe in yourself, because the biggest part of the Elite Hypnosis Bootcamp is also getting you to believe in yourself as a therapist. And to that end, the free videos above and below this video will do that for you. Watch this video again. If you've got any questions, ask them below. Believe in yourself. It's just a placebo, but the placebo is the most powerful thing on the planet. Once you understand what I've told you in this video and what's in the free videos above and below, yeah, join the bootcamp by all means. It will help you make money, get clients, because the biggest important thing is that your marketing, advertising, publicity and promotion puts you on the map so that you create credibility, prestige, belief, expectancy and faith in the client so that when they book you, they believe it will work, at which moment it will. I hope this has helped you. Feedback, much appreciated below. Any questions, put them below. Bye for now.